Are you ready?
Ready?
Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For the topic today, I question to my husband, how you change your life after you meet me in the
Okay.
Philippines.
Oh, how did my life change here in the Philippines
Yes,
after I met you?
yes.
Okay. Well, we were just enjoying a laugh between us. Um, that's a super good question. I appreciate the question.
Thank you, Daddy
And I think it's an
Frank.
important topic. And I think it's one that we really haven't addressed before. And I think it's got a lot of information there that may be of
Yes,
benefit to people watching this little
yeah.
expose that we're doing here. Um, I can honestly say that when I moved over here to the Philippines, next month it's going to be 8 years. That's my eight
Wow.
year anniversary. Um, June
Thank you,
16th.
Lord.
June 16th, next month. Exactly 30 days from today. It will be 8 years here in the Philippines. Anyway, don't let me digress too much here. Um, I would say that the major impact that you've had on my life as an overall look is my attitude and outlook on women, period. It restored hope. And if I walk myself back to never being married, say being 25, 26, 27, when I started thinking about those things, I think we're kind of programmed, or I was in America back in the day. Not so much now. I understand it's changing. People are holding off on marriage in America right now. But back then, 30 some odd years ago, 40 some odd years ago, um, that was the thing that you did. You moved out of the house, you got a job, you got into earning money, and you looked for a significant other. And then the next step was marriage. It was just sort of programmed into you that that's what you did. And so prior to getting married to anyone in America, I had this envisionment in my mind as to how it would be or how I wanted it to be. And it was pretty atypical. It was, me meeting a nice lady and then having the house and the white picket fence and a dog and a couple of kids.
Yeah.
And I would go to work and I would come home and there would be a nice dinner and the kids would be all set up because mom stayed home and took care of them.
Yes.
And we would have fun. We would play with the kids and we would have a conversation at the dinner table. And I would pull as much weight as I could. It was always kind of a 50-50 thing, especially in the States and relationships. That, every now and then I would give mom a break and all that kind of stuff. And I still hold true to that. And I think that everybody deserves a break. Um, so, that being said, when I eventually did get married, the exact opposite happened. And it was just nothing but one big confrontation after another. No such thing as being feminine. It was a much more feminist attitude. And I blame me because I'm the one that said I do to the wrong person. She is an individual. There's absolutely nothing wrong with her. She just is who she is. Same as me. I
Yes.
am who I am.
Yes.
And the two of us, perfectly honest with you, had no business being together. So I don't ex-wife bash here. She had her issues, and I'll freely admit I had mine. We did not see eye to eye on most things. And 9 or 10 years of conflict with this person, it was just enough. And I was done. I was baked. I was like a piece of toast that you took a blowtorch to between the pressures at work, between the pressures at home. In other words, I would come home and instead of the white picket fence and the nice meal waiting for me, she would greet me at the door and immediately just download her day on me. And I haven't even set my suitcase down, my briefcase down, or taken off my jacket, or had a glass of water. It was just, I got to hear about her day. And that's the type of person she was. That's who I signed up for. And I regret it to this very minute. However, it happened. It's in the past. It's swept away. But I will say this, that by the time that ended, the kids were grown. I had done my job there. They were up and off on their own. She was off, we had divorced, and she was off leading her new life, and I was off leading mine. And my new life consisted of me staying home by myself, not wanting to have anything to do with the female species ever again. I had said to myself, you know what? I've tried this twice. It hasn't worked. Obviously, I don't have the intuition to pick the right person. I tend to act impulsively. I tend to respond to beauty or whatever it is that about her, as opposed to looking at what's inside, because what outside's eventually going to fade and go away anyway. But what is inside? And so I kind of lost faith in myself on being able to discern who is good for me and who isn't. So I also discovered during that time alone for over 10 years that I liked being by myself, that I liked me.
So long, 10 years.
Yeah, but I liked it. I mean, I got up when I wanted to get up. I was still working, so I would just go to work. But no longer did I have any phone calls coming in. When are you coming home? Can you pick up a gallon of milk? Can you do this? Can you do that? That ended. And so I went to work. I did my thing. That was a pressure cooker in and of itself. I did not need to walk into another pressure cooker. And that's how I would describe my marriage, as a pressure cooker. I went from one pressure cooker to another one. It was stress here, and then got home to pure unadulterated stress. The idea of the calm, happy meal around the table with the two kids went right out the window. There was nothing calm about it. So when I was alone, there was calmness. There was quiet. There was peace. There was nobody injecting any drama into my life except me. If I had a drama day, it was because I created it and I did something to bring it upon myself, and I could take full responsibility for it. I didn't have anybody to blame except me, and that was healthy. And then when I came to the Philippines, eventually I retired from all that.
Yes.
Got burned out at work, got burned out on everything that was going on. I called it Groundhog Day. I always referred to it in my early videos as Groundhog Day. That today was just like yesterday, and tomorrow's going to be just like today. And it's just going to be this repetitive cycle. And it was going to be boring, and it was going to be mundane. And what was I going to do? Well, I was going to get up, and I was going to take a shower, and I was going to shave, and I was going to go to work, and then I was going to pick up some dinner on the way home, and I was going to park myself on the couch and eat my dinner that I brought home or I picked up, because I didn't feel like cooking when I got home back then. And I'd watch TV until I got tired, and I went to bed and did the whole thing all over again the next day. And I think there's a lot of guys that are my age that are in that same cycle right now. So when I came over here, although some people will say that I'm lying, and I'm not, they'll say I came over here for the women. While I'll say a lot of guys, probably the majority of the guys, do come over here because the Filipinas are much more appealing and attractive than what would you call it, the dating pool that's available in America for especially someone our age, is very small. There you're a very, very tiny, tiny fish in a very huge ocean. And over here, you're not necessarily a big fish, but you're a bigger fish in a much smaller pool. So those odds are in those guys' favor. However, you will attest to this. I stayed single for 2.5 years before I met you. Is that true?
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes, I remember that.
Okay. I did have one quick girlfriend somewhere there. I found out that didn't work. I jumped the gun once again. Because of my past experiences, I realized early on, her and I are not a match. We are not.
You are trauma.
Huh?
You are trauma.
Well, it wasn't really trauma, but I found that she was bankrupting me, and it was just all about the money. And the old Paul would have soldiered through and tried to make it work, and I would have become another enabler to her. And she eventually would have brought me down. Or I would have, let me phrase it this way, I would have allowed her to bring me down because I didn't know how to say no. Well, I knew how to say no by the time I got here. I had processed so much information that I just cut it. And I said, this ain't working. See ya. And I did the fair thing. I made sure she had a place to stay and all that kind of stuff. Gave her some walking money. And the interesting thing is she moved in with another guy two days after one of my friends scooped her up because she was very attractive and she had some endowments, you know. And so, I was like, I should go. Can I have my money back? Because this guy, you know, he's giving you an allowance, which I never did. Anyway,
So the
what's your
rule
question?
is, I have a little advice. Don't trust the friend.
Yeah, that's a fact. We just made a video about that on my channel. And so in the 99-cent store, don't trust all these people. And so
Oh my God.
you're
Your
absolutely
girlfriend
right.
is, your friend is attacked.
Oh yeah, that's 2 days later.
He's
She's
mad.
in there, and I'd given her some money, and I said, I wanted to call the guy up and go, hey, can I get a refund? Because you know she doesn't need that money I gave her. You're taking care of her now. But it was just laughable.
Like
You know?
chilling.
Yeah, I said, you know what? But you know what it did is it really put the nail in the coffin that I had made the right decision. I said, okay, that is this woman's agenda. Yeah, for once I got it right, and for once I cut it short, and I cut my losses. It didn't bankrupt me, but it would have eventually. So, all right, enough about her. What about you? All right, so when I did date other women, eventually,
I'm
I
so
kind of,
laughing about your
I know.
your friend. He's mad on your girlfriend.
She loves these stories.
But you're lucky. You're the person.
I tell her some stuff about these other girls. She just pisses herself laughing.
Sorry guys, I'm so laughing.
So where were we? Oh, meeting you. Okay. So I admit this attitude I had of not wanting to get involved with anybody really percolated for quite a while. And did I meet women? Yes. Did I interact with them? Yes. Did I have intimacy with some of them? Yes. But none of it, I was always very honest with them. And I always said, and they asked me, do you want a girlfriend? I would say, no, I don't.
I don't like
they,
another bottle.
I said, I don't need another repeat of the last one. So, but I give myself credit because I was honest with them. And you know what happened is it made them actually kind of more interested. It was like they weren't expecting that. Because a lot of guys will say, oh, yeah, I really want a long-term relationship and I want to do this. I'm going to buy you a house and I'm going to get you this and I get you that. And that's what they're used to hearing. And then here comes me and I go, no.
It's so funny.
We'd be walking around the mall with one of them. She'd go, can I have that purse? No.
No more again, Baro.
No. No. Well, go get a burger, but that's the beginning and the end of this one. And you find out right away what you got when you say, no, you can't have that. And
You're
so,
so funny, the story.
anyway, back on track. What did you bring to the party? Well, what I learned with May was she's from the province and she was very simple and a minimalist. You know, she was a born minimalist, or I'm more of a born again minimalist. I was first, keeping up with the Joneses for the longest time. But here, I made the conscious decision to dial things down and never buy anything that I couldn't pay cash for and never buy anything that I couldn't afford to walk away from.
Yes.
And I still have that mentality of everything that we've purchased since we've been together, land, car, bike.
Yeah.
If we had to get on a plane tomorrow because of an earthquake and leave, I could leave the land. I could leave the car. I could leave the bike. And I'd still not be worse for wear and tear because with her, we have just been frugal with the money that we've made. All right. We've made money off of YouTube. That's no lie.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a reality.
Yes.
And every nickel that we've ever made off of YouTube has just gone into the savings account. And we still live, her and I, off of my Social Security check.
Yes.
And believe it or not, we live below
Yes.
that Social Security check.
Yeah.
And if YouTube has been a nice supplement to that, but we don't really need that money either. I mean, it's just the way we operate. It's simply increased our safety net and allowed us to do a few things that we normally couldn't have. What she brings to the party was it restored my faith in females. Because guess what? You know that dream I told you about where I was going to buy a house and have the white picket fence and the two kids, and I was going to come home and she was going to make me dinner, and that never happened? Well, guess what? It happened with her. That story from a long time ago came to fruition, came true. Time I come home, she greets me with a smile. She doesn't inject any drama. Dinner's there if I ask for it. Anything else is there if I ask for it. She doesn't have her hand out. If she needs money or wants money, she respectfully asks, can I have some? May I have this? May I do that? Is this okay?
Yes.
You ask me all the time.
Yeah.
Is this okay? I don't mean just money, but anything. Is this okay? Are you okay with this? And that's just total respect.
Yes.
And that's no abuse. And does she nag me? Once in a blue moon. Does she have her bad days? Sure. Do I have mine?
Once a month.
Absolutely. Once a month is absolutely right.
Before coming, you can explain it.
Yeah, I'll explain it. There are some women once a month that go into Tasmanian devil mode. Okay. I have a friend that whenever his wife has her monthly visitor, he goes to a hotel for 2 days because she's just an animal. You know, and it's not her fault. It's a chemical. It's a physiological or physical, you know, imbalance or hormones or whatever you want to
Yes.
call it. And her, I can honestly tell you, I do have to be extra sensitive about what I say because you take it the wrong way or you're just a little more snippy. A little snippy and a little lippy.
But I'm big different for other
But
ladies.
you're a big difference
Yes, I'm very
because
calm.
she goes to bed
Yeah.
and she stays in bed for about 2 or 3 days. And I just check in on you. I
Yeah.
go, do you need anything? And usually I need to go and I'll pick her up a burrito. That
Yes.
makes her happy.
That's my favorite.
And then she'll say, hey, I want some ice cream. Okay, I'm gonna get some ice cream. And it's like, you know what, baby, I'm gonna check out for a while. I gotta go do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
She's like, please go. And so we got the white picket fence to some degree.
Yeah.
We have a little house that we're renting.
Yeah.
We don't have 2 kids, but we have 2 dogs.
Yeah, I'm
So that's
contented.
as close as I
Yeah.
could get
Yeah.
to my original dream of what it was going
Yes.
to be like. So you have fulfilled that dream. And she has shown nothing but loyalty, respect, and monogamy. And I never am worried about her and anything and everything. Not anything and everything. It's not like I can walk over May. She has boundaries. And she'll say, that's over the line, or I don't like doing that, or I wouldn't ever do that. And so she tells me, and I respect those
Yeah,
because
me
none of
too.
them are deal breakers. You know, it's not like I'm being, you know, denied anything. And so she's just very open-minded. And I actually enjoy her more, and she enjoys herself more, for that matter, when we're out of the Philippines,
Yes.
when we leave.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that I can't pound through her head is to stop worrying about what other people think about her. And yet that's just drilled into the society here. It's called chismis,
Yes.
gossip, however you want to phrase it. That's just a reality here in the Philippines. It's not going to change. And me, I'm of one to say, you know, don't worry what other people think about you because they seldom do.
Yes.
Yet that is something that she was able to eliminate when we went to Thailand.
Yes.
And you were just yourself and you didn't care you weren't
Yeah.
worried about someone talking about you because they didn't speak your language anyway, so it was impossible. They may have been talking about you, but you didn't know what they were saying. And so it didn't matter anyway.
Yes.
And that's where ignorance is bliss. If you don't know what they're saying, hey, it couldn't be bad, or it could be bad and you don't know. So ignorance is bliss. I'll repeat it. That sometimes is the way to walk through life, I think, and you'll always be happy.
Yes.
So that's kind of it. I think I would say that you've restored that. You fulfilled that one role that I always thought that I wanted, that I actually gave up on. I actually gave up on that thought. And yet, look at how much I changed. I changed my tune, and I felt it was for the better. So that's my answer to your
Yes,
question.
thank you. The first, thank you, Lord, and thank you, Daddy Paul.
And thanks for watching our
Thank
video.
you so much, guys, and see you next video. Bye-bye.
See you next time.